all guitars are alike. Some of the most unusual are also the most compelling. Pete Swanson has made a few that no one else has ever attempted.
When you Google something and nothing comes up, you know that you've invented something, I figured.
Like all luthiers, Pete Swanson creates his guitars piece by piece. The difference is, nobody has seen a guitar with pieces like this.
When you Google something and nothing comes up, you know that you've invented something, I figure. So, there's no help here out of the internet to figure this out.
Pete's only been building guitars for a few years now, but his unique designs have already caught the eye of many professionals.
I couldn't refer really to any other individual that had come close to doing something like this, which is really exciting. If I'm off by 1/100th of a degree, 1,000th of a degree, then I need to make completely new patterns specifically for that guitar.
He used to spend his days doing woodwork on yachts. But when he started to design a cool fender for his stepdaughter's bike, he was instantly inspired to take on the guitar market.
I wanted to do a stylized line at the back, which is called a ducktail. So once I figured out that I could reverse the curve, it immediately became the waist of a guitar. And the inside is completely concave, which acts like an amphitheater. So when I talk into this, I noticed that my voice was coming in crisper, louder. And that's when the passion began. It was just like it was an undeniable force to put the fenders aside and start in on my first guitar.
His first checkerboard pattern was different than anything else on the market.
In 2010, I was at the Montreal Guitar Show on display, and a few magazines had come by and clicked pictures. And a picture of my table wound up in a magazine, and then that magazine was sent to Mark Trakansky.
Mark is someone whom every luthier dreams of meeting. A fan with deep pockets.
Mark had just finished a conversation with his wife Denise, and he said, "You know what, I think I'm done collecting guitars." And he was leafing through his magazine and he said, "Except I want one of these."
He asked Pete if he could build him a guitar with a houndstooth pattern instead of a checker pattern.
I said, "No, I can't do a houndstooth design. That's impossible." And I explained why. Because houndstooth is what's called a tessellation pattern, where each piece interlocks with the next one, and like a brick wall, it overlaps. Well, I can't do overlapping patterns with my table saw techniques.
They settled on a shark's tooth design instead. When the guitar was finished, Mark named it after his wife, Denise.
He presented me with a thank you note, and it really blew my mind, because I kind of got emotional about it, because he said, like, "Thank you for making my dream come true." And I'm like, wow, that's crazy, because you're fueling my dream. You know, so it was a pretty mind-blowing experience.
But while Pete was working on Mark's first commission, he suddenly figured out how to create Mark's original houndstooth request.
When I had the eureka moment, the whole guitar went together like it was all of a sudden built inside my head. And I told him that it's pretty intense, and it's, you know, it's going to be another prototype, and it's not exactly a proven method yet, but he said, yeah, it's just wonderful that I can be supported like that. It's just incredible.
With the green light from the client, Pete called in some friends and got to work. Scott Dunn designed the 3D models in the mold. Marquette started cutting each of the houndstooth on a CNC machine, but he finished each one by hand.
He had to take all 158 pieces and hand chisel each crotch sharp so that it would be a true representation of the houndstooth patterns.
Then it was time to start putting this intricate puzzle together.
We needed a foundation, so we needed to have a mold made that would allow us the precision that the pattern needs, because it's a mathematical pattern. Everything has to be spaced evenly. We knew that we needed to have a registration system, so we came up with, well, we'll have each tooth have a plug system on it. And so we gridded out the guitar so that each tooth that came off the CNC machine would simply plug into its right spot. Then I mix up a 2-part foam, and I pour the foam in the mold and I sloshed it around, and then after a couple of minutes the foam expands, it goes and it just fills out the entire mold, and I was left with a guitar shape. And once all of those were securely in place on the foam, I went in with a mixture, a secret recipe of wood, dust, and epoxy and dye, more or less, and frosted in between each of the teeth pieces. And once that was cured, I was able to sculpt it all down to its final shape.
Pete admits there were moments when he wondered if it would all work out.
There's always that fear. You know, I was more afraid to come to that conclusion, so I just blocked it out.
But when you work on a guitar for over 4 months, there's definitely time to extract any unruly fangs in your hound's teeth.
I am spending the time, this is my art, and my customers don't mind at all if it takes me a long time to do,
Pete is thrilled with the way the guitar has turned out and can't wait to give it to Mark at the next Montreal Guitar Show. This may be only the 5th guitar he's ever built, but he knows for certain there will be plenty more.
This is my early work, but I'm just starting out. I'm emerging into the marketplace. You have to brand yourself as being a good luthier, and I'm right in the middle of that. So I'm extremely proud of my early work so far, and I've had lots of positive feedback about it, enough to tell me that I'm doing what I should be doing.
To be sure, young Pete Swanson's Dagmar guitars are a real head-turner and very unique.